Alice nodded, her throat constricting with fear. He stood up, his bulk looming over her, his shadow engulfing her. "Then let me help you relieve some of that pressure." Seaman golden, he reached for her, his hands rough and demanding. Alice froze, her body paralyzed with terror. She wanted to scream, to fight back, but the words wouldn't come, her limbs wouldn't move. She was trapped, helpless in the face of his power. He bent her over his desk, his hands fumbling with her clothes, his breath hot and fetid against her skin. Alice closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face, her mind retreating into the darkness as Gigi, the protector, took over. The pain was sharp, brutal, a violation that tore through her body and soul. And then, a different kind of pain, a cramping, a gushing warmth between her legs. The blood flowed, a crimson tide that stained her uniform and the cold, unforgiving surface of the desk. She had lost a baby. Chief Mixell didn't even flinch. He finished inside her, his grunts of satisfaction echoing in the sterile silence of the office. Then he straightened up, adjusting his uniform, his face impassive. "Get out of here, Seaman Golden," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "And don't be late for your next class." Alice stumbled out of the office, her body numb, her mind reeling. She didn't understand what had just happened. She didn't understand why she hadn't fought back. She didn't understand why she felt so empty. The rapes continued for months. Chief Mixell, emboldened by her silence, became more brazen, his assaults more frequent and more violent. Alice retreated further into herself, the fragmented pieces of her psyche scattering like shards of glass. Gigi, the protector, became her constant companion, shielding her from the full horror of what was happening, but also trapping her in a prison of numbness and denial. When she finally found the courage to tell Eric, his reaction was not the comfort and support she had hoped for. He shrugged, his face impassive. "It happens, Alice," he said, his voice devoid of empathy. "Every woman in the Navy goes through it at least once or twice. You were stupid to put yourself in that situation." Alice stared at him, her heart breaking. She had trusted him, confided in him, and this was his response. She felt a surge of anger, a flicker of defiance that surprised even her. "You're a bastard, Eric," she spat, her voice trembling with rage. He laughed, a cruel, mocking sound that echoed in her ears. "Maybe so, Alice. But you're the one who got yourself into this mess, not me." Life, already a precarious balancing act for Alice, spiraled further into chaos. The confirmation of her miscarriage at the Naval Hospital, a sterile room with cold, uncaring instruments, was just another blow in a relentless storm. Eric, emotionally distant and preoccupied with his own tangled web of lies, offered no comfort. Annabelle, ever the pragmatist, took the reins, his focus fixed on survival, on navigating the treacherous currents of Alice's reality. But Gigi, the protector, the one who had borne the brunt of Chief Mixell's abuse, was cracking under the pressure. The drinking escalated, a desperate attempt to numb the pain, to silence the screams in her head. Time became a blur, punctuated by blackouts and fragmented memories. New alters emerged, each a response to the escalating trauma. Desi, Trent, the Babby, Glynn, Richard, each a fragment of Alice's shattered self, each trying to cope in their own way. Annabelle, driven by his own agenda, his secret loyalty to Elliot and his misguided belief that he was protecting Alice, continued to manage Eric and the fallout from his betrayals. He saw Eric as a means to an end, a source of stability in a world that threatened to consume them. Gigi, meanwhile, was trapped in a nightmare of her own. Chief Mixell, a predator in a position of power, continued to exploit her vulnerability, using her body as he pleased, his assaults becoming more frequent, more violent. Gigi endured, her silence a shield, her dissociation a prison. Then came the night that shattered what little remained of Alice's fragile sense of safety. A night of drinking with fellow sailors, a blur of faces and laughter, and then darkness. She woke up in a strange bed, her body aching, bruised, violated. 3 men, their faces hazy in her memory, had used her body, discarded her like a broken toy. Gigi, already reeling from the ongoing abuse, buried the memory deep within herself, a secret too shameful, too painful to share even with the other alters. She retreated further into the fractured landscape of her mind, the walls between the altars thickening, the lines of communication blurring.